So much of what we see is rooted in sleep posture, and people don't think about it until you explain it to them, and then it makes perfect sense. But it's a third of your life in some position like this. It's like sleep on the ground for a night and see what position you wake up in. It definitely won't be on your shoulder and on your hip like this. So if you're 30, that's 10 years you've been in this position. If you're 50, so on. So, it's the repetitive things that you do over a lifetime that accrue. So you sleep like this every night, and then you work like this every night, and then you commute, and then you sit at work, seated, and then all of a sudden you reach for the shampoo and sneeze in the shower, and the whole thing reaches a tipping point, and then you're in trouble. And then you think, I don't know what I did, I damaged something, or I was lifting wrong, or I tweaked something. But it's the repetitive things that you've been doing that really set the stage for it. And once we point that out to people, it becomes obvious. They'll say it's my left hip and I'm like, you sleep on your side with this leg up, and they're like, instantly this little light bulb goes off. They're like, well, yeah, that's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
Do you watch this when you sleep?
It's not a coincidence that the arm you're laying on is the arm that's bothering you.
One of the most common things that we see is low back pain. I mean, it's across the board. It happens to every different type of person, and again, that boils down to how you're spending that 1/3 of your life. I mean, if I can get on the table and show people, a large number of people come in, we ask them about their sleep posture, and they sleep like this.
So in this position, let me see, is that right? His right iliacus is going to be shorter. That's a major hip flexor. Hamstring's going to be shortened. Glute's going to get pulled on. His left shoulder is all the muscles in here being crushed and smashed. The nerves are being blocked. Blood supply to and from his shoulder being blocked. The neck muscles on this side are going to be shortened because this is getting pushed up. This pec is getting shortened this way, pulled across this way, and typically then his foot on this side is going to be pushing up this way, which is going to shorten his calf muscle and make this much more likely to get sprained. So this is creating imbalances in every part of his body, and then people come in here wondering why they don't feel good.
Yeah, one of the biggest dysfunctions that causes is a tightness in one of the muscles. It's called the psoas, that attaches directly to your lumbar spine. So what you're doing with one leg is you're straightening and stretching that muscle out. And on the other side, you're shortening and you're tightening that muscle. So you're creating this imbalance in your lumbar spine of one side pulling one direction and one side that's just straight and lengthened. That can, if it gets tight enough, that can even cause the spine to start to just slightly shift over. And just a slight shift in that can cause all sorts of dysfunction and pain. And the tighter that those muscles get, the easier it is to aggravate them. I had a case where I was trying to show somebody a release and how to work on that muscle themselves, and just not thinking, I did a quick example without fully releasing that muscle. And within about a couple of hours, that muscle was so irritated that it had tightened and contracted. I was feeling all sorts of nerve sensations everywhere below that, extreme pain in my low back. It took Ken probably 15, if I had to guess, about 15 minutes just on that one psoas to get it to finally release. Went to a chiropractor that I trusted and had him do an x-ray. And in just that time, this area had gotten so inflamed and it tightened and pulled so hard that my lumbar spine was shifted over a few degrees. So the following day I had to get Ken to come release that same muscle again because it had tightened up and gotten aggravated again. And it took another 10 minutes probably on that one muscle to get that to release. Once it finally released, within a day, gone.
Yeah, and one of the things, chances are you do not have one leg shorter than the other. You're going to keep hearing that a lot. You have people say that all the time. I've only had one person who actually had, their femur was shorter. But if you have one leg shorter than the other, and I guarantee you it's the side you pull up at night. That hip's shortened, then when you stand it tilts forward. You can kind of see if my hip goes forward, my leg comes up. And then so they'll stick a lift under it and then have you just compounding that asymmetry over your life. But almost every time, it's that leg that you pull up at night.
It's also the one that you're going to cross over the other leg and then if you're standing, you're gonna kind of keep this leg up. What you're doing is actually compensating for something that more than likely is a pre-birth postural deficit. You try to get in positions to make yourself comfortable because you were in the womb and your body was in a certain position. My grandson, every sonogram that my daughter did with him, his left foot was by his left ear. And when he came out, every time they changed his diaper, he was screaming like his face was getting pulled off. And it was just his hip flexor on the left side was so tight that it was pulling. And so what we do, we compensate by pulling that up at night, by crossing that leg over, and we do this throughout our life. What happens when you get older is this now will be so weak, you're not going to be able to pick your foot up to clear the threshold, and you're going to trip on it and fall and hit your face on the countertop, and your kids are going to say, oh, that's it, we're going to put you in a nursing home now. This is from birth to death. This is how we get crippled up as we get older, and all of these things can be prevented by just simply opening up these areas. It helps athletes run faster, jump higher, be quicker, more resilient, less prone to injury. It helps the average person live a life without pain, without taking pain medications that can destroy their health. It allows us to do the things that we were built and born to do without being worried about pain.
When we tell people on a regular basis too, the work that's done here is extremely important. What you do outside of here is 100 times more important. Mm-hmm. And that again begins with sleeping on your back. A couple pillows under the knees so that the legs are supported and you're not hyperextending the lumbar spine at night. But keeping your body in a nice neutral position for that third of your life instead of putting it into a dysfunctional position. And on top of that, then you've got hydration and diet and things of that nature as well. But what you do outside of here is way, way, way more important. And that's how you keep from having to come back.
Right, to bring it back to sleep posture, what we do to help with that, if we open up your hips, that asymmetry Ken was talking about, you get on your side and pull up your leg because it's more comfortable for your hip to be shortened. So when we get people's hips opened up, it's much easier to get comfortable on your back. We give you techniques like a pillow behind your knees under the fitted sheet so you can't kick it away. Just simple things that don't take any money, that are easy to do. It's tough to break a habit that you've been in for years, and it's hard to control what you're doing when you're unconscious. But once your hips are opened up, it's a lot easier to start that. And then unless you have some breathing condition or, sleep apnea, then, the habit breaks pretty quick.
We work with you on those types of things as well. So it's our job to get people comfortable in a neutral position. Because if you can stand up straight and you're comfortable, and if you can lie down flat and you're comfortable, guess what? Your life is a lot easier.